Hi everyone. So today I'm going to I have a special guest with me. I'm always looking for new effective approaches to eating that be of interest to my viewers, patients, and online clients. So today I'm interviewing Ali Damron, who's a friend of mine who is a licensed acupuncturist, a certified personal trainer, and a mom to two boys. And she's going to talk about an approach to eating called carb cycling, which matches your daily carbohydrate intake with the intensity of your workouts. So it's an effective way to burn fat and build muscle. So thanks so much for watching today. For those of you that are watching on replay, my name is Dr. Jennifer Hessler. I'm a naturopathic doctor and a mom of three, and I will admit my three kids are busy on electronics right now, so hopefully we will be uninterrupted. And I'm passionate about helping people to more easily incorporate healthy eating, time-efficient and effective exercise, and stress management techniques so that they can look and feel their best. So as I mentioned, today I'm talking with Ali Damron, and her clinical practice focuses on women's health, and she also runs carb cycling boot camps. So I'm excited to learn more about carb cycling from her today. Thanks so much for joining us, Ali.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention that I didn't already mention in the introduction?
Yeah, I think that you pretty much covered it. Like she said, I have a private practice. I'm an acupuncturist that specializes in women's health and do a couple of online programs with fitness and health consulting as well. So, yeah.
And where are you located?
In Denver, Colorado.
Okay, I knew it was somewhere in the States.
Yeah.
So I've heard lots about the benefits of carb cycling for helping with fat burning, blood sugar regulation, and muscle building. Can you tell us a bit more about it and how it is that it can be helpful?
Yeah, so basically, like you said, we pair our workouts and our food consumption together. And so on days that you strength train, you want to eat a bunch of carbohydrates or a higher percentage of them so that can help refuel the muscles and build that lean muscle. And then we practice the carb cycling because then on opposite days, we'll do more like HIIT training, sprint workouts, cardio stuff. And then we actually go low carb, which depletes the glycogen stores, which teaches your body to burn fat for fuel instead of using the glucose or glycogen that we have from all the carbohydrates.
Okay. Yeah. And so when would you do a high carb day then? What type of workout does that get?
So that would be more strength training. You do that when you lift pretty heavy weights, whether it's arms, legs, obviously are bigger muscle groups, and so you can eat a little bit more and have a few more discretionary calories in there when you do leg workouts. But definitely want to eat lots of carbs on strength training days.
Okay. And are there also some low carb days mixed in there or fasting days? I've heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, so some people, there's all different kinds of ways to do it. Some people fast every single day from 12 to 16 hours. Some people do what's called like crescendo intermittent fasting, which means you don't do it every single day, but maybe 3 times a week. On rest days, I lower my calories by about 25%. And still track the macro percentages. So I still eat carbohydrates on those days, just less calories to kind of incorporate the rest day, since I wasn't burning a lot of calories from
less activity on those days. So just as a refresher for the viewers, macronutrients are your carbohydrate, protein, and fat percentages. And how do you go about calculating what is appropriate for you as an individual?
So there's kind of a range, depending on your goals, where you are in your fitness, it can vary a lot. I use kind of a standard, about 50% carbs, 20% protein, 30% fat on those strength training days and rest days. Like I said, if you were like, this whole kind of dietary plan came from figure competitors and bodybuilders. And so if you're, depending on what phase you are in those plans, it can vary quite greatly on if you are like trying to cut and really lean out. Once you've already built muscle, you'd go for less carbohydrates. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. But for the general public and the ladies that I do the boot camp with, we just pretty much stick with like what our body needs, what's healthy, which is around 50% carbs.
Right. And then you kind of play around with it depending on what works for each individual, I imagine. Yeah. Like if
Yeah,
they're
if you're
not
kind of
seeing the
hitting a
results.
plateau. Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you, like, what are your tricks for getting through lower carb days? I imagine that sort of sounds a little bit scary to some people, including a little bit me.
Yeah. I personally kind of like low carb days because I like to eat a lot of salads, lean proteins and stuff, and you can really just go crazy with salads. Whereas I personally, when I do like the strength training days with the carbs, it's a little bit harder to get in like huge salads because you have to make up for all those carbs.
Right.
And so they're kind of low carb salads are. So eating a lot of leafy green, huge salads are good. Protein smoothies are good. Scrambled eggs or any kind of eggs are good. Nuts and healthy fats, those are also really good. And actually, you stay, due to the high protein and fat content, you stay really full all day.
Right. I can imagine.
So
Yeah.
it's only 2 days a week too. So
Right.
you can get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually, I mean, with my online clients and my patients, like I recommend what I call a paleo-ish diet. Kind of, I think most people feel better with that. So, and when people do track their macronutrients, like using MyFitnessPal or one of those other tools, often they're finding if they're having a hard time losing weight that their carbohydrate count is what is too high, right? Even if they're healthy carbs, it's getting in that protein and that fat that really helps to keep us full and keep our blood sugar nice and stable.
Yeah, and if you're eating like healthy carbs like fruits, root vegetables, sprouted grains, which is what I like my ladies to eat on the program, it's pretty hard to get that many carbs in. Like
right, you have to work at it.
Yeah, that's kind of the general consensus when they start the whole program. They're like, wow, that is a lot of carbs. If you're not eating a bunch of sugar, it is a little more difficult to get them all in.
Right. It's a good reminder of how quickly we do digest those sugars on their own and why it is that people end up consuming more because you're hungry quickly again after, right?
Totally.
Yeah. And I know, like personally, being pregnant, I've had to really dial down the intensity of my exercise, especially with this fourth pregnancy. Can carb cycling be done effectively while pregnant, or are there certain circumstances where you wouldn't recommend it?
So I personally wouldn't recommend doing like actual low carb days while you're pregnant. For nursing moms, I have a couple nursing moms in my program, and I don't recommend anything less than about 100 grams of net carbs, which is still fairly low. It's still a cycle because on the higher carb days, depending, it's around 220 or so grams. So it still definitely is a lot lower, but it's not as low as we go. For pregnant women, I just think that you need more carbs. You need the energy. The baby needs the energy. I would never suggest doing low carb while you're pregnant.
Right.
I think that makes miserable too. Yeah.
There's enough other things going around. The body needs the carbs to make all the extra hormones and everything else that's happening.
Totally.
But still following more, like making sure that there is adequate protein and adequate healthy fats, right? While not specifically limiting carbohydrates.
Totally, yeah. And then strength training a lot more while you're pregnant is beneficial to use up those carbs if you're going to consume them, because a lot of pregnant women crave carbs. So just strength training to kind of use up some of those excess ones so it won't be just stored as fat is helpful too.
And I imagine this is probably like a whole other discussion, but strength training would have to be somewhat modified because a lot of core type exercises, especially as the pregnancy advances, like you just can't, you don't have the core strength anymore as everything stretches out.
Yes, totally. I always tell pregnant moms to just kind of do what they feel comfortable with. Definitely want to stick to what you are used to pre-pregnancy. And not start a huge exercise regimen while you're pregnant if you weren't used to it. That's not really a very good idea. But yeah, keeping your strength up while you're pregnant will definitely help postpartum and during labor, clearly. Being stronger during labor will be helpful as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And for people who are just kind of starting out, like how do you introduce them to the or do they just jump right into carb cycling if they are ready to
So
do it?
in my group, it's a 7 week program because we add in 1 week of prep week. And so during that week of prep week, I do like a whole video series for them and tell them exactly what to do, what to look for, how to do the whole thing. And then I actually have them for 2 days just track their normal food,
Right.
just so that they can get an idea of what their macronutrients look like, if they need to focus more on more carbs or less fat. And then we start the whole program. And it does take a little bit of time for them to get used to it, but we're kind of at the end of the first week of it, the real program, and most women are really getting it by now. Today I actually had a lady that don't like them to weigh themselves, but she emailed me and said that in a week and a half she'd already lost 4 pounds.
That's great.
So, yeah,
but yeah,
better to stay on
the scale, right? Because
yes.
your body composition is changing. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody will lose weight, right? But moving towards a healthier body composition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like a certain weight can look a whole lot different depending on your body composition, for sure.
That's right. And some people, I find from like testing patients in the clinic, like when they actually get on a fitness regime and a diet that works for them, they may even gain a few pounds, but their shape changes dramatically, right? Like that belly fat is what changes, but they've got more muscle in a good way without being super bulky or anything.
Yes,
yeah,
totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Do you have a website where we can post some information if people want to learn more about what you offer? Okay, perfect. So
AllieDameron.com, and we can just post it in the comments too.
Perfect. So we'll make sure we do that after this. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. And if anybody has any further questions, then feel free to post those in the comments, and either myself or I can get Allie to answer them. If you're struggling with weight loss or just interested in a new approach to eating, I hope that our talk today has given you some food for thought. I guess that pun is intended. And I hope that everybody has a great day. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.